the risk is low and the opportunity is high.
What would you change in case you started Gooster today, in this day with experience which you already have?
It was actually working and making money much faster because I had this feedback loop much faster.
What do investors pay the most attention to when they consider investing in a startup? Hi everyone, nice to see you with us today. And my name is Oksana, I'm Chief Sales and Marketing Officer at LinkUp Studio, and today we continue our series of interviews hosted by innovators, founders of hosted startups, owners of the well-known company, and experts who have already come a long way in building state-of-art digital products, and who are ready to share their experience with our listeners. And today in my studio is Amit Bendor. He is the head of AI and data science in Artlist. Artlist is a company who provides that offers a high quality music for content creators such as YouTubers, podcasters, and anyone who don't want to deal with any copyright strikes. And it's actually a very good collection of royalty-free music, sound effects, and video footage. Hi, Amit. Very nice to see you today. How are you?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so let's start talking about you. You have significant experience in building state-of-art startups, digital product, and actually business innovation. So let's start from the little intro of yourself. Tell us about your background and education.
Okay, good. So first of all, I'm 33. I'm from Ramat Gan, near Tel Aviv, and I'm a father of one little baby. It was very cute. In my free time, I'm playing guitar and I'm trying to produce a little bit of music, so you see how it connects to the company that I'm working with today. And my background is starting a few years back, like about 12 years back, and I started in a company called NDS with software. And it took me afterwards. I started to study in the Technion, and I focused over there on NLP, natural language processing. During this time, I was also working in Intel. And afterwards, I started my entrepreneurship story with a company that I founded together with another founder, which is called Gooster.
Okay, and so actually the story of the Gooster is very interesting. So tell us about, so as I know it is a company which you started from scratch by yourself. Can you tell us a bit about this product? And also I know that you have other product which you started by yourself. Can you tell a little about your experience, about how you found the concept and like how this idea come to your mind?
Okay, so for Gooster, actually the idea wasn't mine, and it was changed a lot from the beginning. The idea came from my co-founder, Ardon, and he had this vision of changing the way that we travel. When you travel, you have a lot of like different things that you can see that might be very exciting for you. And we had this idea of building a route that will be very special if you're looking for electronic music or underground things, or if you're more into some other artistic things, so it will build the route for you. And that was the concept. As we started going, we were very young as entrepreneur. For both of us, it was the first real experience. And we did a lot of mistakes, obviously. So when we started to understand, we looked at competition and other things, and we understood that we need to be unique in some way. And we did a little bit of change, and we decided instead of having like a website to go into a chatbot, which was, as I said, I was dealing with natural language processing. And then we went this way. It was a very young technology these days, not easy. And we built the first chatbot. And we had a lot of different challenges, like technically, of course, a lot of challenges, and product-wise, what to build, how to build, all of that. And besides that, I would say the biggest challenge is for every entrepreneur is the market validation, to see that someone actually needs that. So after a few months of building the product, we launched it. Like, we were very happy to do that. We recruited also a marketing person, and also we raised some money. But then after we put it outside, there are a few people using it, but not as much as we would like. We put some money also after that on paid channels. All of that was pretty hard. Long story short, we changed direction totally into a chatbot for hotels, which was much more viable as a concierge, which is someone who can pay you. It's not B2C, which is a little bit harder for us as young entrepreneurs. And it seems to be like a much better area to go to. So we sold to some hotels in Berlin, in Germany, a little bit in Netherlands, in the Far East. And that was, I think, a big turn in the product.
And how long did it take you to launch the first version of the app? Like, when you was ready to launch first time?
So I think it was a pretty long time, maybe like 9 months or something like that. We were also a part of an accelerator, which took a lot of our time as well, which is good, but also sometimes not. But yeah, it took like 9 or a little bit even more than that to launch the first.
And when you just started, what was your expectation? Do you expect that you will launch much faster at the beginning?
Yes. As people who's going to accelerators, you hear all those right things to do, which one of them is just try to get out fast. But also you hear something like, where is your specialty? And then I think that two of them made us try to go very fast out, but then also kicking us back into, is it unique enough? Is it good enough to go outside?
So you always did this, did this iteration of like doing something, checking if it's right, going back and trying to adjust to the market and to provide this unique value to the users, right? So it is always iterative process.
Yeah, so we had this idea in mind. I think we were much slower than what I would like to do, like today, of course, because I really believe in that. And it took us, as I said, like 9 months, so it's not like such a quick iterations. We did some changes which are quicker afterwards, but I would say it could have been better.
Understood. And interesting to know, based on your experience and what you know today, what would you change in case you started Gooster today? In this day, with experience which you already have, what would you change in the process of founding the company?
So that's a big question. A lot of things, I would say. Like, I think we did all, like, not all, but many mistakes of younger entrepreneurs, although we knew a lot of things by mentors. But I think there are two things that I would do differently mostly. One is put more time into validating our ideas, and today I'm more in data science, AI, and it's a scientific area, and I know that you have an hypothesis basically as an entrepreneur, and you think, okay, I think that those people are going to like and to pay. We have a long list of things that we hypothesize. And to validate them is not the only way to validate them, as you think as a younger entrepreneur, is to build it and make it perfect, and then get the answer back from the public and hear I would say that's not the right way I would do it today. I would try to validate it much easier in a smaller scale, not think too much about the future, and try to do a really small things. Today, after building more than a few products, I saw that some of them were, I would say, shaming on how it looks in the back, but it was actually working and making money much faster because I had this feedback loop much faster.
So your recommendation is to start small, don't trying to make everything perfect and put all the features and everything at once, but focus on something which probably will make the most impact, the most value, and just focus on these small parts.
Yeah,
and validate market by it.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. And I would say sometimes you can validate things in a very funny way. Let's say if it's a chatbot, let's put a person, let's take me and the other founder that I have. We could have taken just like the chat, create maybe a script and copy paste the part of the script and try to make it perfect. So yeah, and I think that so that's connected to those are 2 points that are connected, which is start with much less and also work on validate, put the time into thinking about what is your strategy to validate. Maybe only a landing page is enough, or as I said, put in a person behind the chat.
Yeah, also very interesting things, which, for example, we are doing when we're planning to launch some new platform or a mobile application. We are making the landing page with the wish list, like subscribe to our add this product to your wish list, and when we will launch it, you will receive notification and can register and start using the platform. And it is actually very useful insight for the founder, because you can see how many people really want your product, and you already can start some small marketing activities you need to see how people react on your product. So preparation before actual launching, or during this process, you can already start make some action by validating your market and interest of your audience to your product. Yeah, that's very, very cool. Okay. And could you tell, please, a little about your experience of finding the development partner? As I know, you are a technical person by yourself, you are a CTO and a great developer, but you also worked with outsource company who help you to develop the Gooster. So can you tell us how do you choose who you are going to work with?
Okay, so I think that looking at a development partner, you should look at the same as an employee in your company or the founding team, which is super, super important to pick the right people for this job. And I would look for the same things as I would look in an employee, which first of all, there should be a good communication. Which means that we're talking, we can communicate in terms of language, but also culture. And also when we're talking about the venture, there's some motivation, there's some drive for the person that I'm working with. So I would try to look for that. I think this is the first things, because many times there are things that are dropping in communication, and that's super, super important. Besides that, I would try to see the tech proficiency, of course. So I would say that's mostly a point for CEOs, where they might not have a CTO. You need to consult with someone before to understand what you're really going to develop and what kind of skills. Because if you have someone who is really good at backend or front end, for example, it might be not good on the other one. Okay, so there might be that your product is like an editor and you need some really good front-end skills and it needs to look really good. But on the same time, you might have a startup which is a web scraper or something like that, and the front-end doesn't really make a change, but the back end is your whole operation. So you need to know what is the specialty of the partner and try to understand from your product if it's a good fit. And and afterwards aligning on standards, see that you talk in the same language of things, because that's a really important decision.
So we have, like, to summarize what you have told, so we have kind of 3 points. So we have like communication. You should be sure that you are talking the same language, and here we mean not only English, like we mean that you must be like cultural fit, have the same vision of how you see the product development, do the company or freelance and approach the product development save as you see this. And the second one, it is evaluate the quality and the skills of the team, so how good they are, and understand if they will be able to fit to the product needs from the technical point of thing. And have the consultation is always a good thing. And in case of development partner, in your case, have you worked with outsourced freelancers and just looking for different people with different skills and organize them by yourself, or you worked with one-stop company?
So I had experience with both. Honestly, sometimes some works this way and some works this way. It depends on, I guess, some the experience and other things, or the stage that you're being there.
And what you personally prefer, or you are ready to work with both of this type, depend on the product which you're working with and based on your needs?
So both of them, I think that when working with a company, and if it's a good company, so you have the benefit of scale and usually taking more responsibility. If you're more looking into hiring maybe someone as full-time in your startup, sometimes going into one-on-one, that can also work.
Yeah, I know that very often, for example, if you are the founder of the startup and you are not technical by themselves, so you usually look for some freelancers and actually co-founder, partner, or your CTO. So you're actually looking to hire the CTO, who then can take the responsibility of hiring and organizing the work, and it can be also other freelancer or company, like based on your needs. Okay. Let's talk. By the way, and how long did it take you to found the partner? So how long does this journey take?
Okay, so I would say it doesn't take a lot of time to find the potential partners, and we were pretty much in a rush. But to find like the right partner, that might take some time. So I think that at first I didn't know what I know right now on what's important. So it didn't take a lot of time, but today I would put some time into looking for the right company to, as I said, to see that communication, to take some time to really understand that this is the right partner for me.
Okay, and I know that as a CTO, it wasn't your main responsibility to looking for fundraising, but still you take a big participation in it, and you know this process. So I wanted to ask you, based on your experience, what do investors pay the most attention to when they consider investing in a startup?
Yeah, so first of all, I would say that I think that after talking with many investors, many of them look at you as an entrepreneur as a risk. Of course, a reward, a potential reward, but more like a risk. That means that they're trying to see what are the areas that you might go down, like if there are some areas that you weak, like if it's the team, everybody talking about the team, although it's something which is pretty hard to change, but they do try to look at the vibes of the team. Are you good working together? Do you cover each other? Are you really strong? Do you come with the right background, so that's super important. So I would say that when looking at trying to optimize a meeting with an investor, I would try to reduce the risk as looking from his or her eyes, which is also having a very firm plans backed by data, everything that can reduce the risk for them, so they will feel comfortable to invest and feel that the risk is low and the opportunity is high.
So minimizing the risk and raise your opportunity to take some good investment. Okay, that is very, very, very great advice. Okay, let's move slightly to where we are today. So about Artlist, can you present shortly? Like I make intro at the beginning, but I want from you few words about Artlist as a company and what you are doing there all together.
Okay, so Artlist, as you said, it's a platform for content creators where they can have all kind of different content that they use. So for example, if I'm a YouTuber, I want to upload, I created a great video about software development, but I usually need some music and sound effects and maybe some effects on the video itself and other things that will help me to make the video feels and looks professional. And this is exactly what Artlist is tackling today. We give a subscription which is royalty free, which means once you pay, you can just download and use it even after your subscription expires.
Wow, it's very useful feature.
Definitely, also for podcasters, by the way.
We already checked your platform, so I know that I already updated my playlist because, by the way, for you listeners, I need to tell that they have really very great music there. My playlist right now are just amazing, like really very cool music. You should check it out. So I know that you joined the company when it was already launched, but you make a very big impact on how this business working today, because before you came to the company, Artlist didn't have any AI and they only considered to implement it and to innovate the business with this technology. So, and your main responsibilities was actually to implement this into the business. Could you tell us a little bit how you did that, because it seems like just crazy challenging things.
Yeah, so that was very accurate. When I just came, there was no AI at all in the company, and I actually started as a consultant, and afterwards I came inside to build a department, an AI department. And the challenge is to get into a company which is working, everything is working, and to try to put this area in the middle. So first of all, I think the most important thing is to understand where is the benefits in the company, where is the long hanging fruits, as we call them, of things that you can do and change people's life, if it's the user's life or internal lives. So just like an entrepreneur, I would talk to everybody almost in the company, all the managers, and really understand the business very, very deeply, and also try to open their eyes into the possibilities in AI, because it's a field that, many of us don't really know what you can do. It's just like a word that sounds super exciting, but what it actually can do. And I can tell that we started with the recommender systems, which is the whole personalization area, which is very strong in AI, and it gives a lot of benefit to the users, given tailored experience. And some other things more internal that we're doing with marketing or with the content teams, and I try to deliver very fast so people will see the changes. And I think it worked. So
And talking about like how the founders came to this idea. So for example, if talking, as you said, AI today, artificial intelligence is something very excited, and a lot of people thinking about it, thinking about implementing it, but they don't really understand how it works and like what benefits it can give. And also they don't know how to implement it, as we think that this is something super complicated and we already think about, some robots and etc. But you can use artificial intelligence for much more smaller things, just make small improvements. So interesting to know how the founders of the company, like how they came to this idea of implementing artificial intelligence. What was their goal? They wanted to innovate the business, to give more value, or to scale. Like what was their goal that they invited you and give you such a task of like build the AI inside of the ready product?
So I think in this case specifically, this is a very good way to get ahead of the competition, but not in just like product-wise, but also tech-wise, which means having some kind of complex or not complex, but solution that gives capabilities that are really exciting and gives like new horizons for users are super important. And I think that in this case, that was the most important thing, like some kind of unfair advantage. I'm not sure in every case that's what you should do. I think in early stage startups, you don't need to think about your unfair advantage all the time, unless it's like something specifically that you know. But just like as any technology, it gives solution to problems. And this is just another way to do that.
And based on your experience, could you give a few recommendations, for example, for the businesses, like how to implement AI in their existing businesses? Like, do they have to scare of it, or this is nothing to scare about?
Okay, so first of all, I think that education is the best way not to scare about things and learning about things. So I will start to educate you and give you a head start. So when looking at AI, it's a technology which is different from different software technology. It's a statistical model that tries to predict something. And for that, I'm looking at predicting things like, let's say, the stock market, or I don't know if your users are going to live, or sometimes even like creating images, like generating, so predictions like that. Something which is super important before you go into AI is that you need to build a business case around that, because technology itself is not enough. So that's super important. And also AI, as I said, it's statistical. So something that founders having a hard time to figure out is that the models usually don't work in 100% correct. The state of the art is coming into 95, 97, something like that. So build the business case around that, such as maybe there's going to be a human to review, or maybe there's some kind of something like that. Besides that, I would say the technology itself, it's a complex technology. It usually takes more time to develop. But it is possible to do many things. We're not just getting started like we were like 10 years ago or something like that. There's already big companies that most of their development, like Google and others, is around that field, and it's totally possible. But I think that from my experience, don't start too big. It's connected to what we talked about before. Try to separate it and take like a small AI component and just implement it inside. So that's another recommendation, is just start small with something very small that's just working. For example, I worked with one startup. They tried to build a whole very ambitious solution. And I would say only a half of the solution would give a lot of benefit for the outside. and basically this product failed because they were pushing too hard, and it's hard when you're just starting.
Try to make too much at once, right? We also recommend, like with the client with whom we are working and for whom we're developing the product, we also always recommend to start from small when we talk about some complex technical solution, if it is AI or, for example, AR. So, and we usually propose to implement something simple like recommendation and suggestions. For example, if it is some social media, you can make some suggestions of whom you can follow, based on like AI analyze your interest, your profile, your feed, your likes, and can propose you some interesting people to whom you can follow and get interesting insights. So starting small can give a big benefit. So you don't need to automate everything and make everything super AI efficient, right?
Definitely. And my last recommendation, I think, that I want to say also today, the world of SaaS and cloud around AI, with the products that are, some of them are platforms, some of them are real solutions, to integrate them as the first step that might be very wise to go to this direction. And it's connected to something that I'm working on today, and maybe I'll talk about later. But I think that's something that can really, really help founders when they just get started with AI.
How do you think, like, what will be the future of AI, like, in tomorrow business world? Like, do the people will start using an AI more and more, and does it will affect like all of the world, or just like affect some sectors of the economy?
So that's a good question, and it's super interesting. As far as I see, and I can say I changed my perspective through time, I feel like AI is going to change the world in a very, in a large way, and it's going to change the world in many different aspects. I think also some low-tech businesses are going to change, such as if it's like drivers, if they're going to be like the self-driving cars or other things. But also high-tech, we can see that there is some tools for coders today, like Copilot or others, that are making a big change in the industry. Now, from those, there are those that are talking like as a really bad situation when all of us are controlled by the machines. I think that AI is only going to help us, and some jobs are going to change. Today, you already see. Think about before social media. We used to do marketing so much differently, or before Google. And today there are so many jobs around that. So I think for people that are not optimistic about the future with AI, I feel like it's just going to be different jobs. And we humans love to give each other like things, and we like to be treated by a human in many things. And AI is only going to change but enhance the things that we do. But it's going to be mostly for the best and not for the worst.
Yeah, I'm agree with you. I'm always told that when people scare of the artificial intelligence is because of the movie Terminator, So that is why we have like all this from the movie industry. And I think that people scare of something what they don't know, like don't know how it works, the rules of this tool. And I think that, as you said, the best things which you can do to not scare of something, just educate, learn like how it works, try to make small implementation into your business, see the value, and make it all around the business case, because we should understand that technology, it is just a tool and it is not the panacea. It should help business.
Definitely.
Okay, great. And so we are actually at the end of our podcast already. So can you tell a bit like what you are doing today, what your plans for the future? Like, do you probably starting some new product, startup? So Tell us.
So yeah, many people say I'm doing too many things. So beside my main job at Artlist, I'm also, by the way, a podcaster. I don't think we mentioned it myself, but in Hebrew. Besides that, there is this project that I was talking about, which is a problem that I saw very frequently. And this is mostly for developers, but also non-technical peoples that are very intrigued by AI, but they're afraid of it. And it seems like there are so many different SaaS solutions outside, cloud solution, all kind of things that can help you start working with AI and implement it in your business. Or for your users good. And there's a lot of mess around that. It's really hard to find those and classify them into the right areas. So there are so many different services, like there are chatbots and image recognition, and like text, classifying text, such as medical text or law, or so many different things in this world, and it's really huge. So I tried to take this problem and to put a simple solution for that. So I created a community-based platform called cloudaiworld.com, which is basically like a listing style of a website where every person, and even you, can add your experience with some product and just write the pros and the cons and how to use it with API, all kind of things, and other people can use that. So that's something that I'm working on right now.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty much in beta stage, so it doesn't look so amazing. We said we're not doing things perfectly, so that's an evidence for that. But I do invite you to just go and visit cloudaiworld.com, and if you'd like to contribute, that will be even better, and you can contact me directly if you'd like to.
Okay, it is awesome. Like, I think that for us for the technology company who are dealing with different products which have different needs, because we're working, with different industry and different product types, and you need to solve sometimes very unique problems. And I think that have such community where people share different solution and pros and cons is very useful. So we will for sure visit. I advise everyone to visit, to check Amit community. And thank you, Amit, for being with me today. It was a great podcast. I hope our listeners get a lot of valuable information today. And I want to say you bye and thank you for being with us. See you in our next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.